Teal dear, this is just something short and funny because I find it personally hilarious. Just how goddamn slow and behind the times the mainstream media is on what was actually quite an important issue 6 months ago. Cast your minds back, if you will, to August 2015. And you'll remember that in the media there was a big brouhaha about a new drug that was hitting the market by the name of Adi. And this drug was going around being touted as the female Viagra, that it was going to bring equality to the sexual marketplace between men and women because men had all of these other means of treating their sexual dysfunction and women apparently had zero, which was a demonstrable lie. Anyway, you'll remember that back in August, on August 27th to be specific, I authored about a 30-minute long video going into all of the studies, all of the research behind the production of Agi, and how it was just terribly researched. Absolute garbage. How it failed FDA approval when it was previously owned by Boehringer Ingelheim. How some 75% of the people who ever took the drug had some sort of adverse reaction to it. How the positive effect of this drug could only ever be made manifest in between 0.5 and 1 more sexually satisfying experience per calendar month. And then a few short days after that video, I authored another video, a further look at Agi and Sprout Pharmaceuticals, wherein I dug into some of the politics surrounding the issue and how the only reason that Agi ever actually managed to get through FDA approval was basically because of pressure from feminist and women's rights organizations, despite the fact that it was horrendously unreliable, had results that were basically non-existent, and even pointing out that the sample size that Sprout Pharmaceuticals used after buying this failed drug off of Boehringer Ingelheim was about 20-something men that they tested it on. And I thought that this was, pretty much the end of the issue. I thought, well, mainstream media is just reporting this thing, oh, look at it, it's a wonderful drug, we're getting sexual equality and blah blah blah. And now, 6 months later, what do we have? ABC News. Benefits from taking female libido drug are marginal, says new analysis. Researchers from the Netherlands and Brussels published an analysis of 8 studies, including 3 unpublished studies, that looked at a total of 5,000 women who had taken the drug. Their results, which were published in the Journal of American Medicine, found that women on the drug had an average of 1/2 additional satisfying sexual experience per month, or 1 per 2 months. And that there was a significantly increased risk of effects including dizziness, nausea, and fatigue. So it's been 6 months, and this is your new analysis. In fact, it's so new that 6 months ago, I made this statement using these sources. So let's now look at the FDA page. Specifically, the paragraphs dealing with the effectiveness of flibanserin, or Agi. The effectiveness of the 100mg bedtime dose of Agi was evaluated in 3 24-week randomized double-blind placebo-controlled trials in about 2,400 premenopausal women with acquired generalized HSDD, hyposexual desire disorder. The average age of the trial participants was 36 years, with an average duration of HSDD of approximately 5 years. In these trials, women counted the number of satisfying sexual events, reported sexual desire over the preceding 4 weeks, and reported distress related to low sexual desire. On average, treatment with Agi increased the number of satisfying sexual events by 0.5 to 1 additional event per month over placebo, increased the sexual desire score by 0.3 to 0.4 over placebo, and decrease the distress score related to sexual desire by 0.3 to 0.4 over placebo. Additional analyses explored whether the improvements with Agi were meaningful to patients, taking into account the effects of treatment seen among those patients who reported feeling much improved or very improved overall. Across the 3 trials, about 10% more Agi-treated patients than placebo-treated patients reported meaningful improvements in satisfying sexual events, sexual desire, or distress. Agi has not been shown to enhance sexual performance. So, to summarize, people who took Agi experienced between 0.5 to 1 more satisfying sexual experience, and this is self-reported, by the way, between 0 and 1 more self-reported satisfying sexual experience per month over those who did not take Agi. I don't think I really have to tell you how effective this drug is. I think that pretty much says it all, doesn't it? Up to 1, not guaranteed 1, the possibility of up to 1 self-reported sexual satisfying experience per month from taking these pills every day. That's laughable, beyond pathetic, borderline useless. Oh yeah, all of these studies, they're so new. But hey, let's just watch a short little snippet from your actual TV interview about this.
ABC News' Jen Ashton is here. I love it when you're here. I can just see you waiting, wanting to weigh in.
I love this. Oh yeah, I can just see you waiting to weigh in, so much so that you're 6 months behind the curve on this issue. You really couldn't wait to get in there, could you?
Particular pill, relatively new on the market. What does the report say?
Well, anytime there's a study about women and sex, you know people are going to be talking about it. This was a study that came out in JAMA, one of the most reputable journals, really wanted to look at all the available evidence on flibanserin or Adi, this medication. They asked, did these studies use good quality methods? Did it result in quality evidence? And did the benefits outweigh the risks of this medication? That's always important. What they found, benefits-wise, women taking this medication every single day had 0.5 more satisfying sexual encounters per month.
So basically they replicated the studies and used the same sources that I used 6 months ago, or in fact more than 6 months ago. Good for them.
They had a significantly higher rate of side effects, and overall the studies produced were found to be of low quality evidence.
And what about the side effects?
This pill is not for everyone. Can it help some women? Yes, but side effects versus placebo or sugar pill, significant. Dizziness 4 times greater, sleepiness, nausea, fatigue. There's an interaction with alcohol, and hold on to yourself, Robin. The studies looking at this medication and how it interacts with alcohol, most of them done in men.
I love how you go, yeah, most of them done in men, but you totally ignore the fact that their sample size was only about 20-something men. Yeah, the fact that it was mostly done on men is garbage in itself, but the sample size is also garbage. And it's not only ABC who are behind the curve, this shit's only just coming up on Fox as well.
So basically, yeah, you get one, whatever that means, 1/2 of a sexual encounter, and you feel like you're going to throw up. So I'd say no. I don't know. I think this is why is anybody taking this? Why is it out there? I think it's a joke. I think it's not even real.
And it's not stopping there. It's cropping up on other news sites. We have here, Independent. Female Viagra Agi has only marginal sexual benefits, study finds. Published 1st of March 2016. Medical News Today. Female Viagra safety efficacy questioned in new study. Monday 29th of February. Why is this only just breaking into the news now? All of this information was available in the public domain 6 months ago, when Agi first started coming into the market after passing FDA approval for the first time. All you had to do was do a little bit of digging, just scratch the surface, and you would have found all of this immediately. Don't get me wrong, there is part of me that is happy that this has finally made it into the public domain, into the mainstream media. But holy fuck, it took 6 goddamn months. And even then, they've ignored some of the more delicious parts of it, such as how Sprout Pharmaceuticals, the company which makes Agi, has in fact been sponsoring Even the Score, which was one of the main organizations which helped pressure the FDA into giving this dangerous drug the green flag. Let's just ignore that little bit of pharmaceutical astroturf, shall we? But ultimately, you know what? I don't mind, because this, ultimately, at the end of the saga, is a win. The story has at least finally broken, And maybe now people will actually start to realize that the only reason that this drug ever made it to the market was because of pressure from women's rights and feminist organizations threatening the FDA with words like sexist and misogynist. If anyone is in doubt that feminism as an ideology has any sway in society, this should be the perfect piece of evidence for you. Ideology overturned science, and the threat of being labeled a misogynist, the mere threat of being dragged into the game of identity politics, undermined basic scientific standards of evidence. And one thing that really irks me about a lot of these articles that I'm reading, they mention that this drug has been fraught with politics and agenda, but they don't mention whose politics. They don't mention whose agenda. All of the points being made by the media here is about how the research was done poorly, how the data used was inappropriate. They are refusing, for now. I have no doubt that this story is going to get bigger over the next 24 hours as it breaks more. But for now, they are refusing to address the fact that it was feminist organizations that applied all of the pressure to the FDA to get this pushed through. That it was feminists who managed to push onto the market a drug that is actively harmful and dangerous for women. All because patriarchy and my soggy knees. That's the real part of this story, and that's the part which needs to get out. Fortunately, there are 2 videos on YouTube that cover this. Teal Deer Feminists Don't Understand Medicine, and Teal Deer A Further Look at Adji and Sprout. Sure, let's have a little bit of shameless self-promotion while we're at it. But it's very important that people remember that these videos exist, because they were published 6 months ago and blew this thing open then. There was no need for this delay. This entire saga could have been buried before it even got off of the ground. But no one had the balls to do it. Anyway, I'm done. I just found that kind of funny that this is something that's coming up 6 months after the fact. And the very fact that it's taken 6 months for this to break is kind of annoying, honestly. But I'm happy that it has. There we go. Short rant done. I just really needed to get that out of my system.